This week, we have a special guest, John 3, in the studio with us, a local Waco artist. Welcome to the show, John.
Thanks for having me.
You've been recording for several years?
Yeah, technically I've been recording for close to 20 years, but as far as of late, I've been with the new styles, which I'm sure we'll get into the instrumental styles, but it's something different. In fact, I actually had a recording studio, Connor Music Productions, back in the early 2000s. So I had my own production company for almost 10 years, and then things changed. I started getting more into teaching, which I still do. I teach over at Music and Arts. I also teach out of my house, and so things just kind of changed for me. And then I started recording more, thanks to technology. I started recording more at home, and that I think is where I started getting into more instrumental, because I thought I want to do something different. I want to do something different. Plus, I didn't have all the technology that I needed to record a full band. I didn't have drums or anything like that, but well, I kind of do now. But at least at that time, I didn't. Of course, that was 4 or 5 years ago that I started getting more into writing instrumental, because I thought I want to do something different.
But you did start out with writing lyrical songs.
Oh yeah, definitely started writing out because that's what I knew. I mean, when I was getting my degree at MCC, that's what I knew. Yeah.
And what they have here a song we'll play in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Heaven Beside You. And is there any background on this?
There is, and this is even though that my latest album, The Journey Continues, it's supposed to be instrumental, and then I was wrapping it up. I believe I was in the mixing process. I was mixing down the album, and then I found out it's going to be an Uncle to Twins. Oh boy! Now I've got a band. I've got a band now. This is great. But then shortly after that, when my sister-in-law was going for usual checkups, found out that one of the twins didn't make it. So, anyways, that's what sparked the idea. But normally I can get across the message. Instrumental wise, I can kind of get across the message, a feeling, an emotion, some kind of experience. I've had people say some of my songs remind them of a movie or something. But because of what happened, I thought, at least in this particular case, yes, I'm going outside the box, but this one needed to have lyrics, because this one I actually needed to tell.
What it's
about. Yeah. Whereas I didn't want people to kind of have to figure out what's he trying to say with this. So with this particular one, I felt like that it did need some wording behind it, just to explain what happened.
Heaven beside you.
on I Hear America Singing, that was Heaven Beside You by John 3, who is in the studio with us. And John, you said on that song you needed the lyrics to explain it,
Yeah.
but that you've been working more towards instrumental, and you had some folk and blues influences.
Yeah.
And I'm always interested in that as to
Yeah.
what you consider folk.
Yes. And I've got a student, and she loves Bob Dylan. And, I grew up listening to classic rock and, that kind of thing anyways. But Bob Dylan, definitely an influence on me. In fact, most recently I just released my version of Knocking on Heaven's Door. So just to show you what kind of influence that he's had on me. But a lot of that early 60s folk between Bob Dylan, Joan Baez, that kind of thing. As far as blues, Texas blues, you can't go a stone's throw away except, hitting Stevie Ray Vaughan when talking about blues. But at least in this particular case, it's been a lot of Bob Dylan influence. I mean, because once I really started digging deeper as far as because I didn't want to just listen to Dylan. I wanted to find out his playing style, kind of get into the deeper roots of Dylan. So when my student was bringing in, songs to learn, Bob Dylan songs, that's when I started looking at the chord progressions. I thought, oh my, this is, dare I say, overly simplistic. And Dylan just had a way of, he could play one chord throughout the entire song, and you're just like, wow, how do you do that? But he did. He just, so I think that's the other thing that I like about Bob Dylan is his oversimplistic. In fact, that's kind of what started that with my first album, In the Beginning, the name of the album, literally In the Beginning, was my songwriting was very, very simplistic. In fact, I found that I just kept kind of repeating the same phrases over and over again. And I had some people who said, well, it's good, but, it sounds...
Well, I think that's true of many singer-songwriters, is that I've noticed this in listening to albums. You'll find everything on this album is kind of sounds similar.
Yeah.
But if you take a song from this album and this album and this album, they sound distinctly different.
Yeah.
But so the next song we have is From Beneath. And what are we doing with this one?
From Beneath, I am a Danny Elfman fan, the composer. He does a lot of compositions for Tim Burton movies. And this one is a little bit more on the contemporary side because it's piano. I guess you could have piano folk, but this one really influenced me from the movie Batman from, 1989. If you listen to the opening sequence of the movie, it has some sounds very similar to what you hear in the opening credits. So that's where I got the idea from little Danny Elfman.
Here is From Beneath by John 3 on I Hear America Singing. Okay, From Beneath by John 3. Um, and then you are continuing in this style, or you hope to do more albums
Oh, yes.
along this line?
Oh, yeah. In fact, I think where I'm kind of at now is, since I enjoy both writing, lyric-based songs and writing instrumentals, I think for me now is because with the music industry being the way it is, you can pretty much do a multi-genre, multi-genre album. In fact, my earlier writings were, back in the early 2000s, were just like that, where I would just kind of write whatever I was feeling. So, yeah, I'd have to say now I'm definitely going to do more instrumental because people like that. Yeah, people are really enjoying it.
Is there any, do you play in any local venues or?
No, I pretty much lock myself in my studio and just just crank out songs because, that's one thing about the industry right now is you want to really focus on whatever that your talents are. And what I mean by that is if you love going out, hitting the road, then start playing gigs. There's an art to it. In fact, I was reading a book by Ari Herstand, and he was talking about that there's a I don't know, there's something about it that you don't just get up on stage and start playing, but you have to have dare I say, some choreography to it. Not, in the like David Bowie sense, where, not something quite, not Liberace, nothing like that, but it needs to have some coordination. So that's why that, since I actually prefer being more of a recording artist, I'm at the point now where I just crank out songs, mainly due to Spotify's algorithms. The more songs that you record and release, the higher up that you go on their playlisting.
So, where can people listen to your music?
Yes, and pretty much any platform, streaming platform, Apple Music, iTunes, kind of both the same, but Spotify, and then I also have some physical CDs. So I do still have people that do still prefer the physical copy, so I do
and
still those.
You have a website?
Yes. So people can go to my website, John3Music, the number 3, john3music.com, and I've got a playlist on there so people can stream my music from my website. And people ask me, I don't sell my album on my website. I actually prefer the more in-person kind of thing. So if somebody wants, I've mailed CDs off, which is kind of neat. People have, hey, I don't live in Waco, but can I buy your CD? Or
they do better. That's the nice thing about when they tour is that you take product with you.
Yeah,
have
some
merch. Something there that they can buy.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to wrap up with "Color of the Sun."
Yes.
And is there background on this song?
"Color of the Sun." I'm a Mary Poppins fan. I grew up watching the old, 1960s Disney movies. Love Bug, Bedknobs and Broomsticks. And right when the second Mary Poppins Returns came out, of course, my niece loves watching Mary Poppins. Brooke loves it. So I was getting into, wanted to kind of catch up. So I was watching it, the first one night, and something just hit me. I love the writing style, and I cannot remember the name of the duo that wrote. It slipped my mind, but anyways, Sherman Brothers. Thank you. Yeah, and I was listening, really paying attention to the music this time when I was watching the movie, and the song idea for "Color of the Sun" came from Chim Chim Cheroo, and I was breaking down that song, listening to it, seeing how it was on piano because there's not a guitar version, so I had to transpose it into guitar, and that's kind of where the idea came from, was Chim Chim Cheroo from Mary Poppins.
So from Chim Chim Cheroo to "Color of the Sun."
Yep.
Here it is right now on I Hear America Singing. That was Color of the Sun by our special guest, John 3, that's here in the studio with us today. John, I want to thank you for coming by. I've enjoyed it, and wish you luck, and please feel free to come back again sometime.
Love to be back. Thank you.